What's up, YouTube? Here I'm bringing you guys my top 16 Swordsoul deck profile. Feel very proud of this list. It's a going second build for sure. It's more focused on cracking boards and breaking boards, going second. And then in the side deck, we have going first cards, where we'll throw those in, going into round 2 and round 3, where we try to change it up because most likely our opponent will make us go first. So that way we're just throwing those going first cards and we'll trip them up there. So without further ado, without too much of going into any other explanations before we get into the deck, I'm just going to jump right in. So starting off, we just have with simple bread and butter, what everybody's going to be running: 3 Muyi, 3 Long Young, 2 Taya. I run the 2 Desires builds. Thankfully we got Desires back up to 2 from the recent ban list. So of course, I'm running Taya at 2. I've always run Taya at 2 because it does come up. It's just like having the 2 backseats. It just does come up where you just need that second copy sometimes. I.e., in case you banish the first one off Desires, or in case it gets popped, banished, whatever. Even though you could just use that horror to get it back. I'm also running the Tenyis in this build as you see. So I guess you could say Swordsoul Tenyi, but nonetheless, I'm just going to continue. Then of course we run 2 Ecclesia. I don't feel like 3 is really necessary. I feel like 2 really gets the job done. Even though you might be afraid of banishing both, but the odds of that are kind of low. But I just feel like in terms of just breaking boards, really all you need is the 2. You could have 3, really, but I'm a slight budget player too, so I'm just gonna stick to the 2. If I was gonna maybe following the raw boss as well, I might have a 3rd copy, but I just feel like 2 gets the job done. And then I just want to go into some spicy tech. Definitely shout out to the Cali effect for this idea, but the Iris Swordsoul. I'll run her too in terms of my core monster lineup of Swordsoul, because she's just too good. Really, when you think about it, well, first of all, what I didn't realize about her, you can only use each effect of the Iris Swordsoul once per turn. So you can go through each of these effects and then use them once. So if a monster is on the field whose effect was negated, a quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. And then if your opponent special summon monsters, except on the damage step, you can activate one of these effects. Hit with special summon from the hand. You can special summon a monster from the hand as well. If it's from the deck, you can draw 2 cards, and then from the extra deck, you can pop a card. So you gotta think, between cheek style, just being on the board and on your own field, or the mirror match, and cards get negated. We just think about how many cards negate in the game, and then you also just think of when Mirror Jig comes up on the other pesky extra deck monsters, at least she gets to help pop a card. And other than that, she's just a 2500 beater and has the 2500 defense, so she's a wall or a beater either way. And then that's the Swordsoul monster lineup. And then we got 3 Emergence, 1 Summit. Still feel like this is a good card. I know a lot of people cut it, but I still just feel like this is just the better card to have, a good card to have. It's a Monster Reborn, really. I ran Monster Reborn in the deck, but I ended up cutting it. Some of it's just so good because sometimes you can just, whether you hard draw it or you can search it out cheek style if you want to extend your board and help you to go for game a little bit more. And then of course, we had the 1 blackout, for just combo and then just popping cards. And of course, if you banish it while it's in the grave, say with cheek style's effect, you get a token. So of course, that's just good to have. By the way, if anyone interested in this, it's Starlight Rare Swordsoul token. I ordered this off of Etsy. Let me know and I will, send you the link. But now we get into the Tenyi stuff. So I actually only run 2 Vishuda. I feel like that's all that's really necessary. And then you got 3 Ashuna and 3 Adahara. This card is just so good for just getting Tenyis back that are banished, especially if you just dump them off a vessel or something. Speaking of vessel, we do run 3 Vessel for the Dragon Cycle. I do not run Heavenly Circle. I feel like it's an okay card. I want to do more testing with it personally myself, but I just feel like this Tenyi lineup right here, just 2 Vishuda, 3 Ashuna, 3 Adahara, and then 3 Vessels is definitely more than good enough. You have it to where if your opponent has won a die roll and they're going first, or just in any situations where you can draw, you draw 2 of these cards. You can easily like use these to try to go into your synchro combos for your Sword Souls, or just little ways you even bait your opponent if you still run the Hulk engine. I know we don't have Aurora done anymore, but you can still go into Hulk, wait for your opponent's turn, go into formal synchro and get a draw, and then use that again to synchro again, and then maybe turn a backseat into a Baron, to a Baron to floor. So you have little tips and tricks like that. But essentially, this Tenyi lineup, I feel like, is definitely solid. I feel like Vishita definitely might get hit on the balance once, maybe the Megatons come around and it's time for Swordsoul to get hit, because this effect is so good. People forget just that, you control no effect monsters. You can special summon this, link it off for Monk, then you banish it from the grave to target the card and bounce it. So I love doing this on back row. When I was, my recent tournament I was in, when I got top 16, that just really ended up surprising my opponents a lot. Like, bounce a super poly back before they really could use it, before I had anything else good on the field, or at least they weren't expecting it. I've bounced back cross outs. I mean, it's just so many things you end up bouncing back. So shoot is definitely good, but just still good to just have it too, because it's easily searchable, easy to get in the grave, like again with Vessel. So I feel like that's all you need there in terms of the Tenyi build, Tenyi lineup. And then I'm gonna go into my hand traps. So I do 3 Ash. Line up, put the higher rarity on top. Sorry guys, like I said, budget player, so I just go after whatever copies I can get. 2 Ghost Bells, 1 Effect Veiler, and 1 Ogre. You'll see why I run these 2, just that one in a moment. And then we have 3 Infinite Impermanence. Definitely feel like this is a solid hand trap lineup. Been thinking about changing the Ghost Spells probably to DD Crows, and maybe just siding the Ghost Spells. Well, I feel like if you have DD Crow, you don't really need it, but DD Crow seems to be very, very good this game, so I might turn these 2 and this into DD Crows to just run 3. But again, you'll see why, but you probably can already imagine why I run these at 1, even though I know I run Desires, but I run these in the main deck for specific side deck card, and just also, if you do hard draw, they are, both very good as well. But yeah, these are just it for about hand traps. You want to make sure you're still not running too many, so you can still draw the Swordsoul combo that you actually need. And then I'm just going to get into a few one-off to round off the main deck. This is a 43 card main deck, by the way. I did want to keep it at 42, but adding an Iris Swordsoul, instead of deciding to take something out, I decided just to add it in, and it seems to be working so far. And I'm not really doubting it, so I'm just going to continue that. But we have 1 Carbide, 2 Forbidden Droplet, and then the 2 Desires. Carbide, because it's Carbide, why not have it? It's just good. It really wish it just had 2 like a Master Duel. 2 Forbidden Droplets, this is how help us break boards, and then of course we got the 2 Desires. Now, I have been feeling like that I might want to add a Night Beams potentially, and change that up for something, because you can hit like the, what is it, like branded in red, so people just can't chain as many things, or what's that other quick play card? So it's the error one where you can stop cards from being used once the battle phase begins. So I've already been thinking about that. But initially, that is the 43 card lineup. So now I'm going to just get into the extra deck. So quite standard, of course. We're going to have the 2 Monk. I'm going to have the 1 Shaman. I didn't use this much during the tournament, but I feel like it's just always still good to have. I did take out the Hulk combo even without Aurora for my build, just because I feel like personally it's just not needed anymore. I'm just more interested in just breaking boards and then just going for game mostly, and it is good to have, because I always say, like, what if your synchros get removed, and you can easily try to go on the Shaman and then discard a card and just get one of your synchros back, because it's like Supreme. People have a hard enough time getting over him once, so once they finally do get him to the grave, if they didn't banish him, then you can just use Shaman and get him back, and then they have to deal with him all over again. So I still think it's pretty good. That's it for the links. Then we have the 2 Cheek Shaw, Supreme himself. Then we have, after Supreme, we have the Synchro Longion. This card is just so good. Supreme is just also very good. Longion is just good for sometimes going first instead of the Baron de Fleur. Mostly because he's more of a good interrupter if you are stuck going first. During the first game, say your opponent wins the die roll and making you go first. Because he's just good for both draw power. He's like a TG Hybrid Liberian. But then you also can banish a monster or a spell, a trap, and inflict 12. So he's also good for the for time as well. And Supreme is, we all just know how it's just difficult it is sometimes to just get around Supreme. Now for more of the spicy tech, I'll go into more of the Yang Z's first. So we got 2 Baxias, of course. Baxia is just so good, especially once you're going off of and into it with Taya and one of the tokens, because then you can shuffle in 2 cards. But you also have the ability where you can use a second effect, which you can target a card, pop it, get a level 4 lower monster out the grave. Yeah, that way you can double Moe somehow, whether it's with Taya or whatever, and then get it back. And then if you haven't used the effect, go all Synchro more, extend your board. Then of course you got the Yazi for all the Yazi plays, which you can use it to pop itself. And I think it's like another card. Yeah, especially some of the Warrior monster from the deck, so it just helps you go off. And then I almost can't forget, you got Baron de Fleur. That's just for your good old Omni negates. And can pop a card once a turn, so that's a good card to go off for Long Young. Kind of need him so you can stop the Biru, so you can drop him sometimes where you kind of think that you kind of know or expect, or if you just want to be prepared for your opponent to have a disruption, so you can just toss that in there. Then you have Berserker, which is another negate, another Yang Z monster into the archetype. But it's just pretty much you summon them. If monster activates the effect, you get the Banisher card. So that's definitely pretty good. And then of course he has the attacking effect where if he attacks a monster, he can gain the attack and attack again. But I think the monster does have to be in attack position. No, I have to destroy an effect monster by battle and send it to the graveyard. And then you also have Dragite. That's just a spell and trap negate. But then I also want to point out 2 spicy tech cards. I have Crimson Blader. That's to stop your opponent from special summoning level 5 or higher monsters. For their turn, if you destroy the monster by battle, and sends it to the graveyard. And then you also have Ruddy Rose Dragon as well, which this card comes out, you can banish your opponent's entire grave. Yes, this is a level 10, so this is definitely like a good FU to your opponent, and can really throw people off guard. But I have to say, throughout the tournament, all of these came into play mostly. Didn't go, like I said, didn't go to shine that much, and then I didn't get Yachty off as much, but still, I would still say these are definitely good to have. So I would definitely stick to this core for a while and continue to test before I take out any more. And then let me show you guys the side. Okay, side deck. So we're gonna go Token Collector, which I'll explain definitely why in just a few seconds of why I do run that. It's an annoying card. It's for, and again, also for the when it's a mirror match, you just want to definitely get rid of this card. But I'll go ahead and show it now. But I do run the 3 Crossout Designator, which is also why I do run the 1 Veiler and 1 Ogre in the main deck. That way I can cross out the Token Collector. I can cross out anything from the main deck for the mirror match. I can cross out any of my hand traps that they used against me, of course. We're also going to run Duster for just back row removal. I was thinking about pitting in Lightning Storm. That's the card I was thinking about earlier when I was going over the normal spells. I'm going to continue testing with Lightning Storm more, but I'm not sure if I'm going to fully integrate that quite yet. And then we're going to run the Red Reboot as well. This is definitely for more of the back row removal. I was playing a branded Eldritch Dogmatica in my last tournament, the tournament where I got top 16. But it was so funny. I activated this. I think it was game 2, and then he just automatically just went to game 3. This card is just so good. I can definitely see why they're keeping it at 1. If it comes back at 3, like Eldritch is just in trouble. And I love Eldritch, but this card is just so good against back row decks. And then Anti-Spell Fragrance. This was definitely a new ad, I would say. Before I had Droll and Lockbird here, but I feel like actually Anti-Spell Fragrance, but I didn't use Droll and Lockbird as much. So I definitely feel like Anti-Spell Fragrance would be just a better like hit. I actually want to bump this up to 3, but I just gotta make the room. But it's definitely still like a good card to run. For more back row removal, we got Evenly Match, and it's just general board removal. You know, if you use it with the adventure token stuff, they have to they can banish everything, but they have to keep the tokens, so this is good for that. Or just back row decks as well, get those skill drains and all those other pesky floodgates off the field. And then 2-dimensional barrier, of course, you know, stop people from going into, you know, every other type of extra deck play but Link, so that's definitely good, you know, especially the mirror match. You know, you got Deathfields running around. Speaking of Deathfield, the final side deck card is Non-Fusion Area, which I definitely want to get a 3rd copy of this as well. This is definitely another saving grace in the tournament. Definitely helped me out a lot. And it was a bunch of hero players actually, which was a surprise. Along with the branded, you know, with everything we had from the ban list. I'm getting my hero list back at 3. So I just hero players every time I game 2 and 3 when I came flip this, they pretty much just swoop because it's, you know, I already got a board full of negates on the field. Then you got to get past this too. So it's like even if you try to use Stratos to pop, one Stratos effect is going to get negated, and then you know, then you got to get around this. So none of your fusion cards are going to work. So that's pretty much my deck list. Again, the only thing that was different from when I was in the tournament was, again, instead of running the spell fragrances, I ran 2 Drolls on the side. But again, I didn't really use Droll as much. I still feel like it's impactful in the meta, but just, you know, it's just every time I drew Droll in a situation where I definitely was in a position to use it, it was when I got played just Flunderies. So they always would have Shifter live, so Droll really meant nothing because Droll has to go to the graveyard to resolve. So that's just pretty much it. But again, wouldn't change anything. Swordsoul is definitely, I feel like, going to be the best deck, at least definitely for a few months until they decide to hit it or not. But yeah, that's it, guys, and thank you for watching.